Girl, you fly and ghetto with them brand new high heel stiletto.
YouTube, another video here, man. Today's video, it's another story time. This story time is on how me and LB almost got expelled from like our 8th grade year. Like how me and LB almost got expelled our 8th grade year. So to start off, like it was like the way we almost got expelled, y'all gonna understand it later. But let me start it off like this. So we had our school computers that we would use, right? We kind of use them all the time. Like we kind of use them almost all the time. Our school computers that we had in our classrooms. And our teacher, he would let us get out our school computers to do, because most of our schoolwork was on the computer. Not all of it, because sometimes our schoolwork would be like on paper, but then sometimes our schoolwork would also be on the computer. And our teacher also had a web browser. He had a web browser to make sure we were like on the right app. Like we were on the app we were supposed to be. I don't remember what the web browser is called, but it was a web browser that basically kept us in check. Like it kept our tabs in check to make sure we weren't doing nothing for real. And now, if we weren't on the right tab or something, there was two ways the teacher went about it. He either closed your tab or he disabled your browsing. If he disabled your browsing, you couldn't go on nothing. You could have looked up anything, it wouldn't work. A raccoon would show up saying that your browsing's been disabled. Talk to the administrator to fix it. That's what will pop up. I've gotten that a couple times. Not gonna lie, I've received that a couple times where the teacher disabled my browsing because I was playing the game or he caught me playing the game while I was supposed to be on a different tab on the computer. Only a couple times though, only a couple times. And yeah, so the game, it was really based off of one game. Like one game that me and LB and a whole bunch of our class played. Now the reason I say class is because, like from my last story time, our school is a little different. We was in middle school and still had recess. Here's the second thing though. The second thing was we did not move from class to class. We did not have a first hour, second hour. We didn't have a first period, second period. However y'all say it. We didn't have that. Instead, we had one teacher that we stuck with the entire school year, every single day. Why? Because the kids before us decided to never, they was just troublemakers. And the school, or rather the teachers, didn't want to keep dealing with that, so they all assigned us to one teacher that we stuck with the entire school year and like the entire day. We didn't switch teachers, nothing, none of that. It was a little interesting, because no other school dealt with that, just us. But then again, not a whole lot of other middle schools are connected to like their elementary schools, so you know, our school is just different. Anyway, there was this game called Surviv.io that most of our classroom played, most of the guys. I played it a lot too. I found out the game from one of our other classmates playing it while in class. Found out about it, then I played it, and then I couldn't stop playing it. Basically, I tried playing it as much as I possibly can, so did the rest of the classroom. But it had to be dialed down a little bit because the teacher would notice, and then, you know, close tabs, disable browsers, all that stuff. So, like, that was the game we played a lot, but we couldn't do it too much. Otherwise, you're just going to get caught and get your stuff disabled. And And if your stuff was disabled, like if your browser was disabled, he basically told you just put the computer away because he disabled your browsing. He disabled it. He disabled it. He told you to basically just put the computer away. Now, if you was able to convince him to like undisable it, then that's great. You know, now you know what not to do because he'll just disable it again. He'll be watching your browser specifically. The only thing with this though was he had to stay on that tab. If he moved to another tab, he couldn't see what we're doing. Like if he's teaching, but he has his computer on a different tab, he cannot see that. Like he cannot see what we're doing any longer. He has to be on the tab to see what we're doing. That was the only catch with it. So if you were smooth with it, you could like get away with being on certain tabs if he was not on that browsing tab. But the only thing though was that that browser would lag a little bit. So if you're not quick enough and you're on a different tab, the teacher could see like the aftermath of what you was just on because the browser would lag a little bit, you know. Fast forward. So that's how that works. What does it have to involve in terms of me and LB? Basically, at some point, LB he showed me this way to like play the game and stuff or whatever I wanted to do on my computer without the teacher closing our tabs, looking at our tabs, seeing what we're doing on our tabs. He basically showed me a method he found out himself. Basically I don't think he straight up told me. I think I just saw that his tabs weren't being closed and yet he wasn't on the tab he was supposed to be on. So I was asking him how did he do that, and then he showed me the method. But before he showed me the method, he said I can't be telling nobody. I can't be telling nobody about it because then everybody's gonna be doing it. And I said okay. I didn't really understand why at first, but you'll see later in the story on why it wasn't supposed to be told to nobody else for real. I learned the method. Basically, we had another friend. I'm just going to call him Josh. Basically, we would log on to Josh's account. Of course, like we would log into Josh's user. Basically, we would log on into his user and then use his account to do stuff on that account. Of course, we needed his password. I don't know how he got his password, but he got his password. And he gave the password to me. And we both used it. And we both was on his user. Like, doing stuff basically off of his user. But, the timing had to be good. Like, because he also had the same type, all the teachers had the same web browser. That browser where you're able to see what the student is doing on their tab. So basically, we had to make sure we weren't online at the same time Josh's teacher was online. Because if they were online and then saw his tabs, they would basically be seeing he'd be seeing our tabs. His teacher would be seeing our tabs and what we're like doing. You know, he'd see what we're doing. So we had to make sure that we were not on his account at the same time his teacher was looking through tabs and stuff. Now, we would have no idea because we're not in his classroom, but we kind of just had to be lucky with it, pretty much. Wow. This story time may not last as long as I thought. But basically, skip ahead a little bit. We're using the user, like we're using his user. Now, to be honest, I didn't really use it on my own. I really only used it when LB was using it, if I'm being honest. Like, I didn't use it very much. Like, I didn't use it very much on my own. I really only used it when he was using it at the same time, pretty much. I've used it a few times on my own, but most of the time, it was when he was using it. And we were in the same class, so I would know when he's using it, you know? We didn't sit right next to each other, but we were in the same class. And more time goes on, pretty much. More time goes on. And we run into the friend we was talking about. Like, we got his user. He doesn't know this, though. But we ran into our friend, like, in the hallway during passing time. Like, Yeah, it was passing time. I think we were getting out of lunch or some. Like we were getting out of lunch, but we didn't go to our classrooms yet. So we was just in the hallway, and we was talking to him. Like we was all just talking, and then he told us that his teacher kept catching him on tabs that he's never been on. Right? It's starting to make sense. Like for me, it started to click. It started to click. It started to click. Because I didn't realize that his teacher was seeing us on different tabs. Well, no, let me stop. I knew, me and LB knew because after a while, a couple of times, his teacher would close out our tabs. And as soon as he would close out our tabs, both of us would be, okay, that's our cue to get off of his user, like to get off of his account. Because our tabs would be closed. I don't think I've ever got the disabled from him. I just got in the tab being closed. But like speeding back forward to us talking, he would talk to us about how he was being accused of being on tabs that he was not on. In real life, it was us being on those tabs. Like in real life, we was on those tabs that the teacher was claiming to be him, but it wasn't really him. But there was no way for him to say it wasn't me because, like, on his web browser, it was showing us playing the game and stuff or whatever. But in real, like, he couldn't prove that it wasn't him, pretty much. And he was talking about that. And, like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, well, you know why, right? Like, you know why you're being accused of that, right? And LB's looking at me with the craziest face, like, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing? That is the look he is giving me. Like, he is giving me that look where, like, he don't know what I'm doing. Like, he knows what I'm about to say, but if he could have closed my mouth, he would have. If he could have closed my mouth, he would have. But I said it's us. I don't know why, but I was being dumb. I don't know why, but I said, bro, that's us. He didn't understand what I meant by that. And he, like, LB wanted me to keep my mouth shut right then and there. But I didn't because, I don't know, I already said it was us, and I didn't want it to make no sense. Like, I didn't want to say it was us, but then not say nothing, because then that'd look real suspicious. So I just straight up told him what I was talking about. And I told him that it's us that's been on your account. And he was like, bro, how? He was like, how? I explained that part too. I was like, bro, we got your password. Like, that was probably the dumbest thing I could have done, was tell him. Like, then again, he was our friend. Like, it was his account. I don't know. I wasn't, like, feeling bad, but at the same time, I was like, well, it's his account. I feel like he should know. But still, one of the dumbest things I could have done was tell him. It was his account. Even telling somebody else, because they could have just told him themselves. I wasn't thinking. I really wasn't thinking. LB was thinking ahead, like, bro, what did you just do? Now, what if you go tell the teacher? Now, he didn't say that in front of us. But that's what he was thinking, bro. That's literally, like, you could read on his face, that's what he was thinking. He was thinking, bro, you just made the biggest mistake ever. Why would you tell him? So after he understood, after I explained it to him, he was like, oh, okay. Like, it makes sense now. And after it made sense, I wasn't even thinking he'd tell the teacher. I wasn't even thinking about that. I don't know why. I wasn't thinking about, bro, what if he go tell the teacher? Now y'all cooked. I don't know. For some reason, that didn't cross my mind. But he didn't tell the teacher. I don't know. He didn't tell the teacher. Like, he didn't tell the teacher right then and there that it was us. He didn't. I don't know. We was all friends at the time, so I don't know. I don't know. But he didn't tell the teacher. Now, moving forward, after that, LB was no longer telling me when he got on his account. Because, I don't know if it was because of that, but, okay, before that, he would let me know when he was on his account, and after he'd let me know, then I would get on. I would get on the account at the same time, because, again, I wasn't getting on the account myself for real. I really only got on when LB got on. But after that encounter, LB was not letting me know when he got on the account. Like, I would have to just find out, kind of like the first time. That's how he gave me the method in the first place. But after that, I had to find out myself, or I had to catch him on it, because he was not telling me when he was getting on the account. And I was like, you know what, cool. He's not letting me know, okay. And after that, I would use it probably a couple times, but like I said, I didn't use it much if LB wasn't using it. I don't know. It's not like I needed him to be on it by the time I'm on it. But at the same time, we were still in class. Like, we were still in class during these times. I had to focus on my schoolwork, stuff like that. I wasn't always just trying to play that game. Or I didn't have the time to. I still had to do school. Like, I still had to do my assignments, finish the assignments and stuff. So, I don't know. Maybe that's another reason why I didn't just get on that account all the time. Or Josh's account. Fast forward a little bit more. After that, there's just one day. There's one particular day where I wasn't thinking again. Like, I don't know. I wasn't thinking at all. I was not thinking. So, fast forward, like I said, a little bit more. It's towards the end of the day now. It's like maybe 2:30-ish area. Now, typically, that's probably when most of middle schoolers would get out. But we did not get out during that time. We did not get out at like 2:30. We got out an hour later. We got out at like 3:30. Like, that's when we got out of school. 3:30. That's when we got out of school. It was like 2:30, 2:20, around that area. 2 o'clock, around that half an hour area. School was getting close to being done. I saw people. I don't know. I saw my classmates getting on. I saw my classmates getting on that game that we all played. It's called Surviv.io. I saw my classmates getting on that game. I saw them getting on, but at the same time, I didn't want to like get on and then get my browser disabled, cause it's been disabled like once or twice during that whole school year. Like, during that whole entire time of 8th grade, like, it's been disabled like once or twice. I didn't want it to be disabled again. So I was like, I don't know what they doing. I don't know. They must want their browsers disabled. That's what I was basically telling myself. So when I saw him on it, I was like, you know what? Okay. LB. Like, this was my first time ever, like, deciding, you know what, let's get on the account. He wasn't on it. I don't know what he was doing. I don't remember what he was doing. I don't remember. But this was my first time insinuating, like, myself. Instead of him just letting me know, or, like, instead I insinuated, let's get on his account. I should have never did that. Like, I don't know. I should have never did that, if I'm being honest. There was a reason they was all on the game all at the same time. There was a reason, and I wasn't paying attention to it. I was just thinking, y'all offer to get y'all browsers disabled. That's all I was thinking. And I'm gonna explain why in a little bit. But I insinuated, let's get on. I've never done that. The first time I do that ends up being my last. So I say, let's get on. We get on, right? He says, all right, bet. We get on. We get on the account. Maybe we playing it for about a good 20 minutes. Nothing's happening. For about a good 20 minutes. Nothing's happening. I'm chilling. I'm playing the game, right? Playing that 2D shooting game. 20 minutes, nothing happened. And then out of nowhere, I get hit with your browser's been disabled. With that raccoon, like, the people that was in my class, they know. Some people know. Some people know what I'm talking about. But my browser was disabled. It wasn't the typical, okay, the tab gets closed. The tab gets cut off. The tab gets closed, shut off, whatever. No. My browser got disabled. My browser just was disabled. And as soon as I saw that the browser got disabled, I was like, I'm cooked. He would have had to caught on. Otherwise, why would he disable the browser? I'm cooked. You know what? After that browser got disabled, I got off his account, for one. I got off his account and then closed my Chromebook. I just closed it. I just shut it. I just shut it because I had the worst feeling. I had the worst feeling that something bad was gonna happen. Right after that, I got off his browser and then I closed my Chromebook. I closed it. I just sat there. What I did not. Okay, I'm gonna get into that in a second. But I closed the browser. I just closed it. I mean, no, I didn't close the browser. I closed the Chromebook. A few minutes later, okay, not a few minutes, maybe like 2 minutes later, LB's browser gets disabled. And I'm just sitting there with my Chromebook closed. He turns around and he's like, bro, why ain't you let me know your browser got disabled? Because I was not thinking. See, if I would have told him that my browser got disabled, he would have quickly got off. That way his didn't get disabled either, you know. It would have just been mine. But I was not thinking. I was stressing out at that point because I was like, this ain't good. Like, I had the worst feeling. I had this very bad feeling that something bad was going to happen. Something bad was happening. I knew it. I just knew something bad was going to happen. Basically, something bad happened right after. You know? And I wasn't paying attention, but why? Like, all of my classmates that was on that game we was talking about, well, that game I was talking about, it's called Surviv.io. It looks nothing like it did all that time ago. It looks completely different from the way it looked before. It used to be like so simple. Now it's trash. I'm not gonna lie. It's completely trash. It's garbage. But all my classmates, like everyone that plays it while we in class, none of their browsers was getting disabled. Nothing. No tabs was being closed. You wanna know why? You wanna know why no tabs was being closed while they was still playing, while no browsers was being disabled? Because my teacher's computer was updating that whole entire time. For that whole half an hour, my teacher's computer has been updating. But I didn't realize that his computer was being updated until my browser got disabled on his account, on Josh's account. I didn't realize that my teacher's computer was updating. Because his computer was updating, I could have just stayed on my account and played whatever until his computer stopped updating. His computer was updating that entire time. Had no clue. I was not thinking. I was thinking, yeah, y'all browser's gonna be disabled. I should have been thinking ahead. Because if I was thinking ahead, I would have not chose to just get on his account. I would have stayed on mine and just played until his computer stopped updating. You know? But yeah. That happened. Both of our browsers was disabled. Mine first, then his. I had my Chromebook closed, and after his got disabled, I just put my head down. I pretended I was sleeping. I was pretending I fell asleep. Well, no, I didn't pretend I fell asleep yet. I didn't do that yet. Like, 5 minutes went by after our browsers were disabled. 5 minutes. Remember how I told Josh. I told Josh it was us. He didn't understand at first. I should have left it at that. But it was already too late. Even if I left it at him not understanding, I told him it was us. Why? I don't know. Maybe because I didn't realize how, like, I just wasn't realizing what was coming with this. Like, I was not realizing what came with this if something bad were to happen. Because I didn't do it enough. Like, I didn't do it by myself. Like, I would only get on it when LB got on it. And when me and LB got on it, like, once or twice our tabs were closed, but other than that, we were good. Nothing was, like, we wasn't on his account every day or something. We didn't have time for that. We was still in school, still had to do schoolwork and stuff. We didn't have enough time to do that every single day. Like, we didn't have time to do that every single day. We were still in class. These were still school computers. We were only on them for a limited amount of time. We weren't on these all day. We definitely were not. But 5 minutes go by, maybe 4. The teacher gets a phone call. Now, the classroom isn't silent. Everyone's doing their own thing. So there's some girls laughing in one corner. The other guys playing their game because they knew or realized that the teacher's computer was updating. I should have realized that, but I didn't. I don't know. They realized his computer was updated. They was playing their game. Yada. The room was loud, pretty much. The room was loud, but I heard that phone ring. And as soon as I heard that phone ring, it was over. I knew it. As soon as that phone rang, I knew it was over. But I didn't have confirmation yet. But I knew it was over as soon as my teacher got that phone call. That phone call was from the other teacher. That friend Josh I was talking about. Josh's teacher called my teacher. I didn't know it was him yet. But I couldn't confirm it was him yet, but I knew it was him. I knew we were cooked. And then as soon as I heard my teacher say his name, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing?" It was over. I pretended to fall asleep. I pretended I was sleeping. There was nothing I could do. I was pretending I was asleep. To be honest, I should have put the Chromebook back. I should have just put it back. But I didn't. Instead, I was at my desk with my head down on top of the computer pretending to be asleep. As soon as I heard, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing?" Cause look, I already knew we was cooked as soon as that phone rang. But I didn't have confirmation. I needed confirmation before I could just assume. And, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing?" We were cooked. Me and him were cooked. But I knew we were cooked before. I knew we was cooked before he knew. Like, he knew we was cooked, but I knew we was really cooked. I knew we was real life cooked. He said, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing?" I'm not really asleep, y'all. I'm pretending to be asleep. So I hear their conversation for a little bit. And then I don't know how the conversation exactly goes. But I know my teacher, he says, "Okay, I understand." He gets off the phone. He walks all the way to my computer. Now, I can't see him rushing to my desk because my eyes are closed. But he's rushing to my desk. And he takes the Chromebook immediately. Now, I'm pretending I'm asleep, so I'm trying to sell it the best I can. That didn't sell at all. Especially after whatever he heard over the phone from that teacher. It did not sell. He took my Chromebook. He took his Chromebook. He took both of our Chromebooks. Now, I don't exactly remember what happened right after he took our Chromebooks, but he took our Chromebooks. And in terms of any sort of trouble that we was in, couldn't really be dealt with right then and there because it was the end of school. When that happened, school was practically over. Like the school day was practically over. But we was done for. We was done for. Pretty much. And then I go home. And then, our friend, Josh, he called me. He called me to see what was up. To see what was going on. He called me to see what was going on. And I pretty much told him it was bad. It was bad. It wasn't looking good. It was not looking good at all. It wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good for me. And we talked for a little bit. And he even said, bro, he explained how his side went. Because, again, it's showing him on tabs that he was not on. And his teacher was like, "Josh, why are you on these tabs again? Yada, yada, yada." And he's like, I'm not on those tabs. I think someone else is on those tabs. And then again, I was the good kid. I was not the kid who got in trouble. So he first said my name. He said, "No, I think Israel's on my computer." And then I've had him before. So the teacher goes, "Nah, there's no way it's him. There's no way it's him on your computer." But then he mentioned LB. He said, "And I think LB too." It goes to show I had a better track record than LB. So when he said, "And I think LB as well," he said, okay. And then apparently called the teacher right after that. But not to keep it short, my parents got a call from the school as well. and I had to explain to them what happened. Now, I'm a bad explainer, so I think I didn't explain it in a way they totally understood. Like, they understood, but like they wasn't understanding. Maybe it just wasn't that trivial to them. Maybe it wasn't, well, maybe this wasn't screaming being expelled. That's not what that was screaming. I come back in. We come back in, I think the next day. I think we come back in the next day, yeah. And again, my memory gets a little hazy, but I do remember that instead of like being suspended or being expelled, like, I'll tell y'all this. If they would have found out personally, if the school would have found out personally instead of the way they found out, it would have for sure been an expel. Like, if they found out personally, like if they went through the system to find out whose Chromebooks or whose accounts was specifically on his, it would have been way worse. It would have been way worse. But the way they found out was me telling my friend Josh, and then Josh told the teacher, and then Josh's teacher told our teacher, and that's how it was dealt with. It would have been way worse if it was dealt with like the school security or the school's office calling us down, figuring out that it was us. That would have been way worse. That would have been a worse outcome. But instead of a suspension or an expel, because my track record was good. Like, I had a good track record. LB's track record, I don't know about his. I'm not saying he was like the worst, but my track record was better. So basically, they decided for the next few days, because again, from the last story time, we still had recess in middle school. So they decided that, you know what, we just gonna take about maybe 3-4 days of y'all time away from recess, and you guys are gonna have to spend your time with Josh's teacher. Y'all gonna spend all 4 of those days with Josh's teacher while y'all gonna spend those 4 days with Josh's teacher while during our recess time. We spent like 3-4 days. 3-4 days with him while it's supposed to be our recess time. After that, pretty much, I was low-key just glad it didn't escalate any higher than what it could have. That's how I was feeling about it. And like, I don't know, it's kind of funny at the end. After that, after we did our time and stuff, I was searching for LB's name on like his PlayStation. Well, not searching for his name. It showed that he was like offline all of those days. All of those days, it showed he was like offline in terms of being on the game. And then when we got back to school, I asked him about it. Like, I was like, bro, you was really offline for all those days? He was like, no, I blocked you. He was like, no, I blocked you, bro. I blocked you. And I was like, you did? He was like, yeah, I blocked you. Now, after we talked about that, after I talked to him about that, he ended up unblocking me. Like, he unblocked me after that, but during that time, he blocked me. Like, he blocked my PlayStation account. Because I didn't have him on social media, I don't believe. I don't believe I had him on any social media. I only had him on the game. And he blocked me on the game. I mean, it kind of made sense, though. Like, I just straight up said, yeah, it's us. But, in my opinion, if I would have never said that, and we would have got caught differently, like personally, like the school would have personally caught us. Because imagine if it was like the school's office that like found out who it was, and then we were sent to the office for it instead of like the teachers finding out. That would have been a much worse outcome. I know it would have. But that's the end of that story time. I got another story time for y'all on the way as well. But tell me how y'all think this story time was. Tell me if y'all enjoyed it or not. Yeah. So until then, I'll see y'all later.
It's not in here.
Y'all wasn't recording, were you? Oh, my bad.